Welcome to MBI.com. This is John's reports for the 30th of June, and no shock here that MBI Magenta lead certainly having its power. Turnaround in the shakeout, obviously the spider effect here of the DOC, where green now is back above cyan, cyan under red, which is what always buy, of course. And they expect to move back to the 100%. So it was easy to see back here on the slight dip that that's exactly what they were going to do and pressure everyone. It just becomes somewhat obvious. It's possible you could, in the background, hear some thunder and that. Beautiful summer storm in Tuscany. From an NQ standpoint, slowed down a little bit relative to the S&P. So kind of evened out, and now they're both on pace to kind of make the move together. A little bit softer from its DOC readings, the MBI relatively the same from that standpoint, and a much more reset shakeout. So far healthier reset, I would say, from the NQ. Interestingly enough, though, not getting the full orange DOC dip under red, which suggests to me that probably not likely to sustain itself for very long. So it's relative push. And this is another one of those where it's like, I guess I should put an emoji on the screen of the giant laughing sign where because seriously, we all knew that the Fed wasn't going to change its position. Market was betting on like complete, yield collapse. It's like, what, based on what? So money chasing all in the wrong direction, and then they get burned. So no shock there. And from an oil standpoint, still relatively reasonable. We saw that we were in a little bit of a buy turnaround, so it's still within that same trading range. Be interesting to see if we get the dip of orange below the red, then it's likely to have a little bit more legs, which would be a little more upside pressure to it. And from a euro standpoint, again, the recognition, that Eurozone is a disaster. And you had to fill this positive extreme. It takes all the way back to the open of there. It just leads to a little bit of range of the wick, but I would consider that satisfied from a positive extreme fill. But nothing too shocking from any of that. It was just, again, just that playing with the movement, capturing people on the wrong side of it. They get built into the thinking that it's all going, and that's where they, to hell in a handbasket, and they turn it around, and boom, they capture a bunch of people for the short cover rally, and then it just falls right back to where it belonged in the first place. And no excitement from gold at all. Did have some slight news on the Bitcoin area where, you still have these lawsuits and things going on with Ripple and all that, and so a lot of those things are interesting as far as them working out through the courts and what will be decided there. But this push to the 100%, no shock. I mean, it was like zero short activity within this. This has just all been about the news, and it's way outperformed what we've seen from ETH, and simply because that was, BlackRock and then getting involved in Bitcoin and stuff really kind of propelled it to an extreme. It's how it moves. I mean, this is what news can do, and following the key players. It's interesting though, with the social media influence now, you can get a lot more directed play out of some of these things, and no different than in the old days where they used to do the pump and dump from the Wall Street movie. Blue horseshoe loves Anna Cloud Steel kind of thing, and that still works even today. And we can see from 50K we were kind of neutralized, and then towards the end of the day, boom, started to skyrocket, and then we're getting the same propelling from that move right there. So again, any of the shorts that got a little too excited, getting hammered as usual. When we look at it from an intraday, at the peak, they sort of sold out to any soft hands getting squeezed out of it. And then they flipped it around, brought it right back up. Everyone got all excited again. Too many people to the long side, so boom, bring it right back down to the exact same spot. You see, this is the difference that I've always tried to explain. When the algos are working in it, they don't care about time. So whether their average weighted price is higher or lower, and there's a perceived loss, it's not a loss in their view until it's actualized. And since they know they can control where things end up, it becomes irrelevant to them, where the average person is just looking at these numbers and getting, freaked out whether there's a plus or a minus, and it's not how the algos work. They don't really care about that. They're looking to drive to their specific target ranges and or pull back to capture any stops to get more shares and or cheaper price, and that's exactly what they do. And then you can see here in the post market, when they have light action, it's pretty easy to just drive that right through, and then they will liquidate when they get enough. What they'll do is they'll be measuring as the pre-market opens. If there's more excitement, people jumping in thinking that they've missed something, and then they start selling into that excess liquidity, and the cycle repeats itself. So just a heads up on how it works, and it's always the contrary play that throws people off. The key for us is being able to see when those shifts take place, and particularly in these instances when you have these positive extremes, knowing where we've got to retrace values to, because they're going to come there. That's just the way it works. So we're all set with that. You can look for the indicators coming out this weekend, so that you'll be all set for July, and it should be an exciting one. I think that it's going to be a lot more activity during the summer than a lot of people are expecting, and I think that's going to be exciting. So, as always, though, trade well. Look for me in a Skype chat. Have a good one.